Chapter 4 Unidentified Floaty Object. The goat got up with no clue who he was. He was severely wounded and had to go to the goat hospital. Floaty Goaty took him there and his wounds were treated. Everyone walked outside into a wheat field near Goatville. Floaty Goaty asked him who he was and if it really was Mark. He had no clue. He had completely lost his memory. Luckily, Floaty Goaty knew there was a memory recovery machine somewhere on Goofy Planet. He just didn't know where. Suddenly, Floaty Goaty activated a beacon in the middle of the field that sent out a signal to an alien spaceship. The ship eventually made their way to Goofy Planet and spewed out thousands of super strong aliens. Then, Floaty Goaty started floating against his own control. He was being abducted. He tried to escape, but couldn't get out in time. He was taken into the alien spaceship. Floaty Goaty tried to attack the aliens, but they tied him to the wall. He burned the rope with his powers and tried attacking them again. They were just too strong. So he used his only attack that could kill the aliens. He shot out a massive beam that killed the three that attacked him. They were obliterated. Suddenly, Big Ounce shot through the ship wall to wall. He screamed so loud that it was too many decibels for the aliens to handle, so half the ones on the ground were popped. There were still too many to count, though. Floaty Goaty looked up at the holes made by Big Ounce. They were fixed within a minute, but Floaty Goaty was sad because that fall would have most certainly killed Big Ounce. Big Ounce fought so many battles to keep the team going, but it was a sacrifice worth taking, as half of the aliens were wiped out. Floaty Goaty continued on trying to find the machine. He heard a sound and got scared. He used his invisibility on accident out of fright. Then from the sky, sent by the almighty Ohio Lord, was Sussy Lord Quandale Dingle himself. Not to be confused with the deceased Quandale Dingle the Capybara, this beast was an insane powerhouse that could destroy these aliens in just a few punches. He was looking around for Floaty Goaty because he was still invisible. Floaty Goaty hid in a cabinet to get away from him. Right as he got in, his invisibility powers ran out. He looked outside as more creatures were spawned in by the Ohio Lord, including Skeledoge, Sussy Ben, John Pork, Sigma Man, Master Oogway, Ponjork, Bobby Broccoli, Adam Apple, John Parking Space, Steve Beef, Jenny Pork, Isho Speed, and Gigachin. Floaty Goaty stayed in that cabinet for as long as he could, hiding from the goofy creatures. He finally leaves when his power regenerates. He sets out to kill all of the creatures and the aliens. He turns invisible and finds the first creature, Steve Beef. Floaty Goaty went into the room and set a bomb inside. He then set up a force field blocking the door, and Steve Beef was killed. Any walls that were broken by the explosion were regenerated immediately. Floaty Goaty now knew that he could use this to his advantage. He then stumbled across 3 aliens blocking his path. He killed them with his attack, but it took a while to regain his full power. Floaty Goaty then saw a shadow. It looked odd, like something he had never seen before. It got closer and closer, making a very loud singing sound. Then, it popped into the hallway with Floaty Goaty. It turned out to be a tiny furcorn that would help him get past some enemies. Floaty Goaty then found John Parking Space in a room. He walked past as John Parking Space is one of the strongest creatures. He then found the next weakest, Jenny Pork. Furcorn immediately jumped up onto the ceiling and kicked her right in the forehead. It knocked her down fast, and Floaty Goaty set a bomb inside the room. Jenny was killed, but then Furcorn fell through the exploded floor. The last Floaty Goaty saw was Furcorn falling down and killing thousands of aliens on impact, helping the rest of the gang. Floaty Goaty saw Hashi waving at him, telling him to jump down. Just as he was about to jump, the walls regenerated. Floaty Goaty was all alone again. But he had an idea. The explosion could kill him, so he had to act carefully. But if he exploded a room and quickly jumped down, he could get back to the gang. Just then he found Skeledoge, the next weakest. Floaty Goaty exploded the room, killing Skeledoge, and then he did it. He jumped out. He flew at the very bottom to break his fall, and then used Earthquake. It killed many aliens, but they are smarter than pigs, so none of them walked in that radius anymore. Except one. Floaty Goaty tried to earthquake it, but it shot him upwards. Hashi saw this and ran towards him quickly, but it was too late. Floaty Goaty was back into the ship. Floaty Goaty accepted his fate that he would be in the ship until he killed the aliens and the creatures. He then stumbled across Adam Apple and killed him with another explosion. Floaty Goaty then left to find IShowSpeed. He found him in a room guarded by 3 more aliens. He killed them and then took a rest after his power ran out. He then exploded IShowSpeed and set up another force field. But the bomb exploded before he could finish setting up the force field. He was knocked back and suffered severe wounds. He then felt a strange effect. Seconds later, his wounds healed. He got up and enthusiastically found John Pork. He set a bomb up and once again killed the creature. Next, he found Pon Jork. He set up 3 bombs because the creatures are getting stronger. He was killed, but barely. Floaty Goaty knew he was going to have to be sneaky when setting up his bombs. Floaty Goaty then found another room containing Gigachin in this seemingly endless ship, and sneakily placed 4 bombs, but then he was spotted. Thankfully, Floaty Goaty's bob beam was able to slow him down. But then the bombs went off and he was knocked back again. He felt that strange healing power again. Floaty Goaty made his way to the next room and found Sigma Man. He exploded him quickly with 5 bombs, but he lived. He set up 3 more inside and then he was killed. Next, he set out to find Sussy Ben. He found him in a room at the very corner of the ship, guarded by some aliens. Floaty Goaty used his bow and arrow training to silently kill Sussy Ben. The aliens then found him, so he used his bombs to kill half of them, but he was attacked by the rest. Floaty Goaty flew to the top of the ship and used the bob beam, but it caused him to fall to the ground because he ran out of power. When he regained it, he summoned 60 bombs at once and quickly ran into the room containing Master Oogway, Quandale Dingle, and John Parking Space. He threw the bombs in and they all died. Now there was one left, Bobby Broccoli, the strongest of the strong. Floaty Goaty looked around the ship for hours. He just couldn't find Bobby Broccoli. Suddenly, while he wasn't looking, Floaty Goaty was struck from behind by Bobby Broccoli. He looked behind him and got punched in the face multiple times. He then turned invisible and slowly crawled to the cabinet he hid in earlier. He got in it right before his invisibility ran out. He passed out of exhaustion. He woke up to the sound of his father, Floaty Goaty, speaking to him. "Floaty Goaty, you can't let this happen," said Floaty Goaty. "I know, Father, these creatures are just too strong," Floaty Goaty complained. Floaty Goaty sent Floaty Goaty back with a goodbye, and he woke up in the cabinet, shaking around rapidly. He looked out of the small hole in the cabinet and saw Bobby Broccoli, all of the aliens, and the Alien King attacking him. He was so shocked that he accidentally used Earthquake. Luckily, the aliens broke the impact, so the ship didn't explode. Floaty Goaty flew around in the cabinet so the aliens couldn't get to him. He made it to the control room just as he lost his power. He had found the memory machine. He quickly grabbed it and got back in the cabinet. The aliens rushed in and threw him out of the window. They threw him into a volcano. He was 3 seconds away from being devoured by lava. But then he landed on a rock. He looked up at the ship. And then a massive beam shot through it, and they exploded. Thousands of aliens got scattered all over and fell to their death, and Floaty Goaty saw multiple fall into the volcano. Then one landed on the cabinet. It dragged it down into the lava, and Floaty Goaty was going to die, until he saw the beak of Kevin shoot it. It faded away, and Hashi flew down and picked up the cabinet. Floaty Goaty was saved, but he lost the memory machine. Hashi quickly snatched the beak, and they made it to safety. Floaty Goaty searched the volcano to no avail. He looked back at Mark, and he thought of the power that they could have. He looked back at the volcano, and he flew in. He searched through the lava, burning his skin off. Then he found it. He quickly flew out and made it back to the field. He flopped on the ground and immediately used the machine on the white goat. Floaty Goaty was severely wounded, so Hashi took him to the goat hospital. The goat explained to Floaty Goaty who he was and what happened when Flog was attacking. He really was Mark. He explained that him and the other 1,000 goats had been incinerated and they had gone to go heaven. He found a strange goat crystal, and when he showed it to Floaty Goaty, he was shocked, and then out of nowhere, he fell from the sky, passed out, and suffered severe brain damage that caused him to lose his memory completely. Floaty Goaty took the crystal and then turned to Hashi. He asked him what was that massive beam that shot the ship was. And then he convinced Mark to touch the power stone, and it shot ship with its full power. But what happened to the Alien King and Bobby Broccoli? Floaty Goaty asked. Hashi explained that they were exploded by the Power Stone, and he found their bodies when he flew up to save Floaty Goaty from the volcano. After days in the hospital and horribly disgusting medicine, Floaty Goaty was healed. Hashi made his way out of the hospital the normal way and made sure Floaty Goaty wasn't mentally damaged. He looked up at the hospital and saw Floaty Goaty jump out of the window and fly at the bottom to break his fall. Hashi knew he was okay.